Welcome everyone to the another show, another episode. We have our special guest, Mr. Zack Michael. He's a transformational coach. So thank you, Zack, for having to your show and being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, man.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, doing great.
Nice.
Yeah, can't wait to jump into today's topic. So you chose to talk about resolving self-sabotage and limiting belief for entrepreneurs because this is what you actually do, helping other entrepreneurs come out of the limiting belief, things like that. So before we get into the actual topic, can you tell me like a little bit about yourself, like who you're helping and what led you to get into helping entrepreneurs, what you used to do before that?
Yeah, most definitely. So I've been in this, in the personal development or human potential field
Yeah.
for 11 years now. And my background is as a therapist specializing in trauma, PTSD, a lot of heavy emotional issues, some chronic pain, various emotional and stress related issues.
Right.
And so as of early last year in 2020,
Yeah.
I brought my practice online to an international audience. And so now what I do is I specialize in entrepreneurs specifically. So coaches,
Right.
consultants, a lot of relationship-based online business owners
Right.
that are holding themselves back from progressing, achieving the kind of goals they want, experiencing kind of business success that they want. And they're most often holding themselves back with some unconscious self-sabotaging programs. And so what we do is we identify the ways in which people are holding themselves back and go about releasing these unconscious ways of being that they no longer want to be anymore. And so I got involved in this space, as I said, over 10 years ago. And it was
10 years is a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's been a long time, but it's gone by very fast. And really for me, I realized that my passion is to help other people in a personal way, and essentially become the best version of themselves. And so, the rest is history. I decided to take that journey that long ago, and now here we are.
Yeah, that's great. Like, so you basically helping coaches. So you coach them for coming out of the limiting belief and get their goal and achieve more out of them. So like when you coach your clients, so what do you find in the common with them entrepreneurs? Like what's stopping them? What's the main cause for like they're not going and giving their 100% for achieving the task or goal they want to achieve?
Well, it really depends on the individual on a case-by-case basis. But I can share with you some of the most common ways in which I notice my clients sabotaging. And for example, very often they will catastrophize, meaning that they will consistently be in the future in their mind. And they will be creating or expecting, they'll create an expectation of their future that is negative and based on their past. So based on previous negative experiences that they've had. And then because of what they've experienced, that it was negative, that gets stored in the unconscious body mind. And then in order for the ego to keep the individual safe, it will learn that this kind of experience is bad. It's a threat to my survival and safety. And so it will then create more of an expectation to re-experience a lot of the negative stuff in the future. And so when someone's really focusing and ruminating or dwelling on this unconscious future that has not happened, it's an illusion. They'll basically get stuck in a negative state, a negative frame that will prevent them from taking action. Very often they'll know what they need to do to build their business or scale or move forward. But it's not a case of knowing what they'll need to do. It's just they won't do it. They can't do it. They feel they don't have the energy to do it. And so they'll prevent themselves literally from succeeding because they want to
paralyzing them.
It paralyzes them.
So they're not taking any action and procrastinating, like I'm gonna do it next week or a month later, things like that. Because
that's very
they inside they're scared of like oh, if I do this thing, in the past I tried it, it didn't succeed, and I didn't get the result I wanted. So it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to be more prepared for next time and go and do it like a next or like a month from now or something like that. So
Yeah.
is that something you're trying to explain, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's one example of catastrophizing. Another common one is emotional imbalance. So very often people will be, let's say you experience something great in life or business. And so because of that great experience, you end up feeling really good. And so that's like a justification to feel great. I had a great day, I've been having a great month. Why? Because great things are happening. And then what will happen is that because everything is cyclical, people will experience a down as well. And then just as they experience that up, their kind of state, their frame, their consciousness will be pulled down to the level of what they experienced in terms of the negative. And so they had a bad day. And so now, oh, everything's terrible. And then that will lead to more kind of catastrophizing and magnifying this bad day, bad week, or whatever the case was. And so if we can bring people back to a level of emotional balance so that they're not being pulled around by what goes on in life, they remain kind of stoic, calm, balanced, regardless of what's occurring outside of them, and they remain in a place of empowerment rather than disempowerment.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So it's like basically like it doesn't matter, are you achieving great success on during the day or like for the week or month, you're hitting your goals and you're super pumped up and everything. But even then, it just paralyzes them. Like they think about, oh no, I hit the goal, I'm gonna lay back a little bit and not giving the 100% on the next month or next week. So also is affecting in the both ways. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. Because like I often say to my clients is that the swing to the left is equal to the swing to the right.
Right.
So even though we say, great, well, like there's no problem with having amazing, euphoric, exciting days if great things happen. So they say, well, but how could that be bad? Because if the swing to the left is equal to the swing to the right, then actually, if something amazing happens and it kind of controls your consciousness and your reaction to it, and so then you feel great, it's actually a level of emotional imbalance or weakness. Because if you can be pulled around by your environment that much, that means that you can suffer at an equal degree of severity.
Right. So it is both ways a similar situation. So how do you helping entrepreneurs like getting out of the system and like achieving more success? Is there any pattern or you follow or any steps you have to follow? Or
most definitely, I have essentially a formula now that I coach and guide all of my clients through, and the formula that I am using today is really a combination of everything that I've been trained in, that I've been using throughout my clinical practice, that now really is a blend of various rapid change modalities. So I teach people a mechanism that they can use to communicate directly with their unconscious mind and release and let go of their attachments to the ways in which they suffer. And when they become empowered through being responsible for realizing that it is them who's responsible for creating their challenges, that they take that responsibility, say, okay, look, I'm responsible for my life's challenges and my life experience. So then with this responsibility, I'm going to have my line in the sand moment, meaning I'm done with suffering anymore. I'm enough is enough. And now I'm equipped with the tools, techniques, strategy, knowledge, and know-how to be able to resolve everything that I've been dealing with. And so I empower my clients to become their own transformational catalyst, essentially.
Right. So that's the step you give them. So they need to follow this. And like, today is the day I'm stopping this. So no more procrastination, no more limiting belief. What I need to do, go get and done. Right.
Yeah, that everyone, I mean, if you're going to make a change in your life,
Yeah.
you've got to come to a place in your mind where you say enough is enough.
Yeah.
And because what we're describing here is comfort zones or standards. So you will
Yeah.
only get or experience in your life what you will allow for
Yeah.
yourself. And that's just another way of describing a standard. And so if you've been experiencing life in the way that you
Mhm.
have and you're unhappy with it, you only have to look to who you've been and what you've been allowing yourself to
Yeah.
experience to understand why that is. And so you say, look, if I'm going to change, then I need to decide right now that I'm done with continuously experiencing what I have.
Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, but most people, what I saw, uh, they try to do let's say small bits every time. Let's say they want to quit smoking. So instead of saying today is the day I'm quitting, they'll be like, oh, I was to have like a 26 a day. Right now, I'm bringing it down to 5 a day. But that cycle doesn't necessarily like they're making them quit, because when you have a bad day, they're going back to the old habit. So quitting is like saying, like you said, stop it when they're in the same place. So it's like a stop it today. I need to stop it today before I going any further, and the habit needs to be changed. So is there any slow process? Does it work, or do you think like you need to be stopped? Anything is stopping you need to be stopped today.
Could you give me an example?
Yeah, like I said, like a quitting smoking, let's say. So most people are trying to quit smoking, but they, instead of like quitting today, overall, they go like a slow on it. Let's say instead of having a 20 cigarette day, they're having like a 5. And just think like if you have like a less of them, then obviously eventually like after a month or two, I'm able to quit it. So do you think this system works, or like you need to stop straight away? Like today is the day I'm not smoking anymore and I'm not a smoker.
Yeah. Well, look, different things work for different people. So there's
Yeah.
never going to be any one way for every single person.
Yeah.
But in the kind of in the smoking cessation example, yeah, you have to have a moment in time where you decide I'm no longer going to
Mm.
allow this of myself, this behavior,
Yeah.
because I have been up until now. Who's in control of my mind? No one but me.
Yeah.
So, because I'm the common denominator in all my life experience, I've got to decide, regardless of what I'm wanting to change, if it's smoking, if it's bad habits, if it's self-sabotage, whatever the case is, it comes down to me right now. And the way that I look at uh, reinforcing that decision to change is on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, very often, let's say with the case of addiction, or a substance addiction, someone will say, okay, I want to stop doing this for the rest of
Yeah.
my life. That's their intention. But that's a big ask,
Mhm.
at the very beginning when you've just day one. So
Yeah.
I would rather say, look, let's go today. I want
Yeah.
to commit to doing the very best that I can today.
Mhm.
Can I commit to that? Yes, I can. So I'm making I'm setting a smaller expectation that would
Right.
be an easier target for me to hit. So
Mhm.
because of the expectation that I'm setting, I'm actually setting myself up more likely to win than
Yeah.
lose. And so I think of it in terms of like a baby step. And so you would just go, I'm going to do the best that I can today. All right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day rolls out. I look back at throughout my day. How well did I do? I can celebrate my win. And
Yeah.
then next day begins. I recommit just as I did yesterday. And I do it today. I'm going to do the best that I can today. Now
So
you
it's
do
like a
that
one day at a time. Yeah.
yeah, you do that every single day. At the end of a week, you've been doing the new thing for a week, and you just keep
Yeah.
doing that and doing that and doing that. And it's just like taking steps.
Mm.
You can only
Yeah.
move one step at a time.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So when like someone resolved a self-sabotage and they know what they're doing, so how to increase their limiting belief to their self-confidence, like how to increase that?
How to increase self-confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. From being like a limiting belief to like a self-confidence, like you winning, you got a plan and you stopped whatever bad habit you had in the past. Now you are a go-getter. You have like a clear vision, you have a clear goal. But we still need like our self-confidence. Either it would be like a sales call, either it would be like a prospecting, either it would be like having one-on-one conversation with someone, anything like an entrepreneur does. So how
Yeah.
to like increase the self-confidence in what we do?
So the way that I look at confidence is what is confidence a consequence of? It's a
Mm,
consequence of getting positive desired results.
yeah,
And we can gain or get desired results in the real world through taking action and doing things. We can also get
yeah,
results in our mind before we've taken action out there in the real world physically. And so you'll see this very common within top performers top athletes,
yeah,
right? You'll see top Olympians, sports teams. They'll be visualizing before they go and do the thing, play their game, do the
yeah,
match, whatever it is, and they will picture themselves, feel it, hear it, see it, experience it internally, them
mm,
winning. And because
right,
they've pre-paved the future, they're more
yeah,
likely to experience what they've set up as their expectation.
mm,
So I look at it in terms of getting results. Confidence is a consequence of positive results, just as feeling discouraged or defeated is a consequence of negative results.
right,
The other element of confidence or certainty in oneself is identifying the ways in which I believe, like you talked about the limiting beliefs, right?
yeah,
So, how do I know or believe that I am uncertain, lack confidence, have anxiety around a certain thing? And then
yeah,
I go about identifying the limiting belief around that and then unlearning it or undoing it. So it's a release of the ways in which I believe I'm not confident.
yeah,
And also, in conjunction with that, a progressive conditioning to becoming more confident through experiencing results in my
yeah,
mind. And also, just to kind of finalize this point, Rizal, is to the last section on smoking, for example, we talk about
yeah,
keeping it small.
yeah,
So if you keep your expectations more realistic in the beginning,
mm,
then what you will encounter is a lot of smaller wins.
right,
So if you do the thing properly,
yeah,
at the end of the day, you've won. You're more confident. You're more certain. You've got
yeah,
momentum, and you keep doing that, and so you're gaining momentum through progressively winning.
mm, yeah, interesting. Yeah, so it's like a smaller gains we need to keep moving forward, then the self-confidence all build up over time. So when you're working with coaches and consultant, like you coach them, how long does it really take in order to see some changes on them? Few weeks,
Good
few
question.
months?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I expect my clients now, based on the way in which I work and my approach, for my clients to experience noticeable change
yeah,
within the 1 to 2 weeks.
right.
As soon as we basically start working together,
Yeah,
things start changing. Now, in terms of the desired end result, that depends on the individual, their readiness
mhm,
to commit to and devote themselves to the practice, the work, the
yeah,
coaching, the readiness for change, their coachability and compliance, and also the nature of their issues as
yeah,
well. So the severity of them, how long they've been experiencing their challenges, and so on. It all plays a role as to how they experience transformation.
yeah. And everyone's is different, isn't it? Some people can take a couple of weeks, some people like a couple of months. It's everyone different on their own space, and everyone's goal is different in terms of, yeah,
Exactly right. Everyone's goal is different. I've had people who have been able to completely resolve their challenges
yeah,
within a matter of weeks. And I have others who have different goals, and they want, once they start to see results, they want
yeah.
to just retain coaching. And I've been coaching people for as much as a year as well. So it really depends on the individual and what they're after.
Mhm, right. Yeah, as an we are entrepreneur, like we most people think like we have all clarity in the world. We know exactly what we're doing. This is not right. So you've been working with a lots of entrepreneurs in past 10 years. So you can tell like they have not clarity, no right vision, not all the time they knows what they're doing. So eventually you have to work it out themselves, isn't it?
Yeah, well, eventually they have to work it out themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're here to help one another work things out, right?
Mhm.
Um, if one thinks that they always have all the answers themselves, then just by virtue of that, they'll most likely hold themselves back.
Yeah,
Really, in my own personal experience, when I was able to do my own breakthroughs, because I've had my own challenges, I used to chronically
definitely.
hold myself back. That's why I specialize in this area.
Yeah,
And now, thankfully, I can say that I've broken through. That was what I described as the past me. I no longer
yeah,
experience life and business in that way. It's amazing. But for me to be able to break through, and for all my clients to be able to break through, humility is essential in enabling one
yeah.
to essentially get from wherever they are right now to the next level, to kind of put their ego to the side and just be humble and
Mhm.
open to learning something new, doing something differently. Because the age old saying, if you do what you've always done, you'll get
Yeah,
what you've always got. So you've got to be open for mentorship, guidance, and doing things in a new way.
right. So in terms of like your own self, like do you follow any kind of daily ritual, daily routine in terms of like getting yourself like resolving the self-sabotage and limiting belief and building more confidence? Like do you read books or mentorship? What do you actually do for
Yeah.
yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm all about structure and routine,
Mhm.
because I want to remain disciplined.
Yeah.
So which gives me the kind of freedom throughout my day
Yeah.
to function in the best way possible. So I wake up at around 5 every morning. I
5.
start,
That's really early.
yeah, but it wasn't
Yeah.
always like that. I
Yeah.
wasn't an early riser. Now I love getting up at 5. I do not like sleeping in at all because it's
Right.
just so normal for me. And so I'll
Mm.
wake up at 5, I'll get ready right away, and then I'll head to the gym. And
Yeah.
that's what I do. I've usually got 1 to 2 books on the go. Um, and yeah, I keep it really simple in terms of structure and routine. I just like to find what works for me and just
Yeah.
commit to that. It's really just, honestly, it's the focus on practicing and exercising
Yeah.
stick to itiveness or commitment. Commitment in and of itself to me builds character. So if I
Mm.
prove to myself through my own action that I'm someone who follows through on what I say,
Yeah.
I decide what I'm going to do, I decide what my goals are, and I stick to a custom designed structure for me, then I know that that in and of itself is winning.
Yeah. Definitely.
Simply just committing to something is winning.
Yeah. And it took time for like getting to the routine, like waking up in the 5 in the morning. So it took like a self belief yourself, like you're doing what you need to be doing, which is right, and then sticking to it.
Yeah, well, just going back to the concept of the stacking small wins, I didn't
Yeah.
start all of a sudden waking up at 5. I used
Yeah.
to wake up at 7:30, and I thought, okay, I want to wake up earlier.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll do 6:30. That's easy, half an hour. Okay,
Yeah.
then that became comfortable, and then I thought, okay, I'll do 6. And then I
Mhm.
just kept moving the alarm back earlier and earlier until I
Right.
finally got it to 5, and I thought, I'm happy to do 5. And so I just
It's
kind of inched my way forward, though.
yeah. Yeah. It's everyone's different, so everyone's have like their different sleep pattern, and they need to find out like what works best for them and make the changes around it. Yeah, definitely. So like in terms of like if you want to tell our audience like what they need to do in order to get out of themselves sabotaging and like limiting belief for themselves, obviously we cover lots of ground, but if you want to simplify for them, what's the first step they need to do?
We need to go back to drawing your line in the sand. You need
Yeah.
to have that moment where you decide right now, today, uh, why, based on your own decision to exercise your free will, to
Mhm.
say, I'm going to pursue something better for myself
Yeah.
in whichever way in which you decide that is.
Yeah.
And it's having that conviction to make a choice and then stick to it and say, okay, I'm going to be open now for opportunities and vehicles that
Yeah.
can enable me to get there, whether that's a coach, some kind of program or course, a book, some kind of something new. that will help move you forward in the right direction. And as long as you just decide something and then also commit to staying on that path, you really don't have anything to worry about, because as long as you're committed, you will eventually end up at your desired result. You'll get there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up this podcast. So before we wrap up, would you like to let our audience know, like, if they want to work with you or need any coaching or consulting, how they're gonna reach out? Do you have any website or social media?
Yeah, best place to find me right now is on Instagram. That's probably the easiest place to reach out to me. So you can find me at Mr Zack Michael, Zack Michael, spelled the traditional way. And that's where you can find me right now. I'm currently in the process of launching a group mentoring program, which is going to be starting this month. And all my content you can find on Instagram, Facebook, and I will be building out a YouTube as well in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. If you have the YouTube channel, I can link on the podcast. So if anyone wants to go to your YouTube channel, they can go visit.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so thank you so much for giving your valuable time and sharing the knowledge and experience you have on this topic. And obviously, I get lots of value from it, and our audience is. And I really appreciate it for your time. And thanks for being here.
Well, I appreciate you too as well, my friend. Thank you so much.
No problem. So this is a wrap, guys. So I'm going to see you in the next episode. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and talk to you next episode. Thank you.